Blumhouse has made some pretty awesome movies over the years. A lot, actually. Have you ever sat down and looked at just how many films Blumhouse has had a hand in? Well, these are the best of them ranked. The Exorcist Believer had big expectations as a direct sequel to the original Exorcist from 1973. Unfortunately for audiences, it just didn't bring the hype. Night Swim is the newest installment on the list. However, it certainly doesn't scare anyone away from diving into the deep end. Blumhouse's first huge success, Paranormal Activity, is what ultimately gave us the production company that we know today. There are periods throughout the film that feel very drawn out, but ultimately it is one of the best found footage films of all time. The Visit's whole tone is slightly uncomfortable from start to finish, and you can't really tell why until the twist is revealed, making it a refreshingly different story that we haven't seen too much of. Oculus was really the first film that drew mainstream audiences' attention to director Mike Flanagan, telling a story of psychosis and trauma across two separate time periods. Whether or not you agree that this plot has run its course, Insidious: The Red Door still does its thing by scaring the audiences when they least expect it. Unfriended was a unique horror movie that took a different approach to found footage flicks. The Purge wasn't really loved by critics, but without this film we wouldn't have the rest of the dystopian franchise to marvel at. Ouija: Origin of Evil is one of the rare times when a sequel is better than the original, and a lot of the credit for that has to go to director Mike Flanagan. Freaky is innately unique and will likely be one of those films that receives subsequent cult status. Ma has such a campy and sinister feel to it from start to finish that you can't help but have a good time while watching it. Happy Death Day combines horror with comedy and science fiction pretty seamlessly, and delivers well on the premise of what if Groundhog's Day but horror. Hush takes home invasion films up a notch by really dialing in on the tension building throughout the movie. The Invisible Man will leave you questioning if you're ever really alone. Halloween 2018 helped to bring the franchise back to life, modernized it, and wiped our slates clean of some of the other less than good sequels. Split builds from psychological thriller all the way to straight up horror from start to finish. And the reveal at the end? Ignoring the fact that Glass wasn't very good at the time, that stuff was mind-blowing. Creep may be one of the lesser known horror movies out there, but it deserves to be in the top 10 on this list. But not as much as Creep 2, which is another rare instance where the sequel is actually better than the first. The Black Phone was one of the most highly anticipated horror movies of 2022, and with a disturbing performance by Ethan Hawke as the grabber, this movie will likely be listed in the top of Blumhouse films for pretty much all of time. Jordan Peele's Us was existentially terrifying and continued to bolster his reputation as a horror master. While not the most terrifying film in Blumhouse's extensive repertoire, Five Nights at Freddy's delivers by providing an entertaining and accessible flick that both lifelong fans and newcomers can enjoy. Sinister has some of the more unique kills that I've ever seen in a horror movie, and they don't shy away too much from showing you them, or at least showing you enough that you can create your own visual. Megan may be one of Blumhouse's more recent releases, but it has the potential to become a cult classic for the horror giant. It's not surprising that Insidious inspired a franchise that audiences can't get enough of, as it is absolutely horrifying in the best way possible. And finally, Get Out set the bar incredibly high for director Jordan Peele right out of the gate, giving us not only a fantastic horror film, but one absolutely cram-packed with some of the most relevant social commentary we've seen in a while.